No, no. Not at all. Okay, ready to roll?
Yep.
Okay, all right, welcome everyone. This is the regular city council meeting for Monday, March 24th, 2025. We'll call the meeting to order. We could all stand up and say the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you again. Can I have a roll call, please? Cheryl?
Dylan Meyer.
Yes.
Adam Ryder.
Yes.
Matt Gardy.
Yes. Number 4, approval of the agenda. Anybody have any questions or comments with anything on there? If not, we'll ask for a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second?
Second.
And roll call, please.
Matt Gardy.
Yep.
Dylan Meyer.
Yes.
Adam Ryder.
Yes. Number 5, I think we can skip. So let's jump down to 6, the consent agenda. Again, any questions, comments, concerns with anything on there? Assuming everything's good for the alcohol license. No problems.
Who's out?
The garage.
The garage. Okay. Unless there's any other discussion needed with anything on there, I'll ask for a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second,
Second.
and roll call, please.
Adam Ryder.
Yes.
Matt Gardy.
Yes.
Dylan Meyer.
Yes.
Okay, number 7, EMC insurance renewal. Norm is here with Associated Insurance Counselors. Discuss and consider approval of fiscal year 2025-26 liability, auto, and property insurance renewal. So, Norm?
I have the big book in,
The book.
the bill on the spread in here,
What?
the bill on the spread. I'm kind of the substitute Larry put this together this year, but pretty much on top of it, because Cheryl and I have been talking as we've gone through, trading cars and whatnot. If you go to the front page, we can make this real simple, and then the rest of the documentation, I can answer questions. But first, I would like to thank Ray Ernst to spend almost a full day 10 months ago. And we went around and we looked at every property, measured and pictured, and we have a data file. So if we ever have any issues, we can say, hey, Mr. Insurance Company, here's what was here before we started.
Okay.
So we're keeping that and we're getting it backed up almost daily.
Good.
But it's always there. It's just the new things probably will do in another year, unless you build something new, okay?
Yep.
The other thing, Cheryl, did you go over with the council, the dividend? At all?
Or
The 10,000? Did you ever discuss that here at the council meeting? Okay. The real important thing is the last item on the front page. Because of your good experience and good experience of the group, for last year, you got a refund of $10,722. That's already been given and put into the bank of the city. Well, then you go up and look at this year's column, and you notice that it's increased, and quite frankly, there's the main driving point of that is we've got $908,000 increase in rebuilding costs. And that is just being suffered by everybody. Cost to rebuild is just getting out of hand to what people really can afford, no different than utilities. We have, and we're on the 3rd year on the light plant special coverage, and we already looked at what generators are being insured for. I'm just greasing the skids for 12 months from now. But I would say it's gonna double, not insurance, the value of what the generators and all the switching gear with all the storms,
Yeah.
there just isn't any old stuff around, so you gotta go buy new, and buy new is just really ridiculously high. So the bottom line there, this year's renewal is the 96,548. And that's got really, if you just go right up to the top property, ate up most of that. The next page down is the really, you as a council should be concerned with. We're dealing with 1 million auto liability, 1 million errors and omissions. I'm gonna skip umbrella, crime, and then law enforcement, 1 million. But then we have an umbrella, so that brings any event $2 million. So that's really the bottom line far as liability. You have different retention limits. Like if the council makes an error, there might be a $1,500 deductible. The umbrella shows $10,000, but since it's all placed in the same company, that goes away. If we have need of going into the umbrella limits. The rest of the papers in here are an itemization of everything, of each building. We did a major upgrade on the town hall when you did all the improvements there. The fire station's got a new roof. We're trying to keep up with things that are going on, and that's alluded to at the bottom of the front page, where I think we had a number of fire department radios, which I'm amazed what they cost. I'm sure you guys are too, but that's technology, the new technology. And then we've had conversations of, did you get anybody to help for summer help yet?
No, we're.
Go to a
applications are due-
16-year-old and stuff?
Yeah, I asked him about doing 16 or 18.
Quite frankly, we gotta follow OSHA, and OSHA says a lot of things about young people that you can't let them do. It's not the insurance company's rules, it's not Norm Nielsen's rules, is we gotta follow those rules. It's kinda like the fire department, the various classes now of air pack, they gotta have a better physical pass to know that they can handle that issue versus somebody that's not on a call. So we're evolving as such. Now, I'm here to answer questions. Is there any questions that anybody has? And I'd be more than happy to come back after you digest all of this at the next meeting or the 2 meetings down. Realistically, the future of insurance is not going down, period. I thought it would have after the derecho in 2 years, but with all the other claims in other parts of the country, it's just not going down because valuations are just going up. Claims, quite frankly, work comp claims in Iowa went down another 12% this year. Iowa's got good work ethics, and it's nearly 50% down from 6 years ago. So keep up the good work, nobody's getting hurt. And you control that yourself, as such. So you're doing a good job with that. Other than that, we got the breakdown in the books there, and it's not due till the 1st, and I gotta pay the company, so the bill's in there. Is there any other questions?
Just cyber, the cyber, do you think we're still looking good there with what we kinda got?
I don't know what's
Okay.
enough.
Okay.
I like spending the money on preventing. Preventing is who's allowed into the checking account passwords. It's preventing putting things online and letting everybody post bad things. Yeah, stay out of that. Run your city and you'll be just fine, but really protect access to it as such. Now, do you do online EFT payments and a lot of that? That's what coming to. I know in insurance, it's almost 90% that people are paying online anymore. I have a real problem that you save somebody's credit card or too much data in your data file that could be stolen. That's the big issue right now. What's enough? The real cost of cyber isn't that you gotta claim, it's the reconstruction you gotta do. Last thing I was, or at a claim meeting, $1,200 per person to rebuild somebody's claim, or data history. If you lose the social security number and birth dates and names and it's all coordinated. That's a lot of money, times the number of people that have. So, I didn't answer your question, I don't know. But you also gotta, sit in your chair and say, what can the city afford?
Right.
I think this is better than we were like 6 years ago when we had none.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, I would agree with
But I still like spending the money where it prevents it. I think that's a better dollar right now.
Yeah, okay.
Any other questions? If not, I'll get out of here.
No, I
I
should be-
appreciate the business, and if there's any time you need anything, or you need me at the meeting to discuss any issues, and if you do see Ray, thank him, he had to put up with me for a whole day. All right?
Sounds good, thanks Norm.
Thank you.
Okay, do we need to,
You need to approve that,
we need to approve that?
so we can pay them.
Okay. Okay, was there any other discussion needed with anything on the insurance wise? If not, I will ask for a motion to approve the insurance renewal.
Make a motion to approve the insurance renewal.
Second,
Second.
roll call please.
Matt Shorty,
Yes.
Bill Meyer,
Yes.
Adam Ryder.
Yes.
Okay, number 8, West Side Park improvements update. Nancy is here, so if you wanna give us the floor is yours.
Thank you. So I'm here to discuss the 2 new projects that we're gonna be doing this year. First, we're gonna be planting new trees at West Side. We proposed 14. We talked to Nick with Trees Forever and Marcia and some of the Preston Tree Board that exist. We all met last fall. We picked out a plan, we picked out trees. So then we thought 14 made nice, where it was decided 14 looked real nice. We had some in different areas in the park. So then we decided to ask for sponsorship. So through sponsorship, 10 people sponsored trees. So we have 4 trees left to pay for, and we will pay for with them from the West Side Park Improvement Funds. So that money is all there from the Can Redemption,
Okay.
which is great. The Can Redemption Fund's doing awesome. So we have all the other projects that we did paid for. We gotta save some cash back for West Side Warrior and for How's It Work events. Then we plan to finish the tree project, which will probably, I'm guessing, will cost about $3,000. There's no other grants that we could find, and the one that, for the town, for the other project, that's
It's on
on hold. So we were gonna do it in conjunction with Too Good, but because of that, we're not.
Right.
So,
Do you guys have a rough layout of where you're thinking
yes,
tree placement?
yes.
there? Okay.
If you wanted, I can email it to
Could you, yeah, could you? I would-
Sure.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yep,
Just so I,
yep, and it
Have
is,
an
it's
idea
kinda
what's
all
going on.
around, like by the Serenity area, it's 3, I'm just starting in that corner. And then down by the field, there's probably 3 more, and then over along the walk path, I think there's gonna be 2. And then back up by the pavilion, I think there's gonna be a couple, but yeah, I can email to you.
perfect.
And on it, we just put little X's and then we put the kinds of tree.
Oh,
Between
okay.
Marcia's suggestions and Nick's suggestions, and we're working with Spanglers,
Yeah,
so that's for the area,
right,
it's what, and
perfect.
it's kind of a variety also.
Okay, yeah.
So if something would happen to one kind, it wouldn't be out all the trees too.
Right, right, yeah.
So the people that donated the $500, it's $500 to sponsor a tree. It pays for the tree, a paver. We talked to Eric, and that's what they had at Too Good, was a paver. So each person that sponsored the tree will get recognized in that way. It'll be low, so it doesn't affect the lawnmower.
Yep.
That alone's $150. It basic, and then a tree diaper. Nick recommended a tree diaper. I never heard of that before. Marcia didn't either. They say it's awesome. You put it around and you fill it with water, and the tree gets water as needed. And I think it will really help for maintenance, upkeep, well, not routine for the city too.
Okay.
They said then you just fill the diapers and the tree gets water as needed. We do wanna start that soon, so now we gotta get the plans in to get the trees. We gave Kendra a list last fall, so she has an idea, but once the weather gets a little bit warmer, and she recommends too, now's, coming soon is the best time to plant them.
Okay.
They won't be stressed anymore and they're better before it gets hot.
Right.
So once we get that done, then we'll go right into, after we get that paid, we have an estimate that we'll have $10,000 left. So like we mentioned before, we would like to put some cement up at West Side for parking spots. Have not been able to find any grants for that either. And from the plan last year, when I met with Eric, we were gonna go from the bathrooms towards the pavilion. But honestly, after thinking this over, right by the can redemption is usually the wettest spot in the parking lot. That gets used the most. So we're rethinking to go in the corner by the trailer and then headed towards the bathroom. And as funds become available, just keep going. We would like, our group would like to request if there's any funding from the city to help put towards it, like possibly WPPI funds. And I don't know, would we want to ask if just individuals would like to sponsor an area? The thing is, the more we do right now, you know, the easier, the better it's gonna do, to do as big as area as we can.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
But we're gonna be limited to the funds we have,
Yeah.
because, you know, we've been told the city has no money to allot towards it.
Yeah, we'd have to do some digging and see, no guarantees on anything there. I mean, as far as the sponsorships go, I mean, that's, I guess, that's up to you guys. I don't know if like a donation, we'll just ask for a donation would be a better, I don't know.
Sure,
you
that's
know.
pretty much what I meant.
Yeah,
That is the case,
Yeah,
cause
okay.
you can't say a certain area.
Right.
Donation is the correct
Yeah,
word.
okay, okay.
Are you gonna move the trailer, or is that always gonna take up like one parking spot?
Even where the trailer is, we probably don't need that cemented, Dylan, but where people walk, to the big totes, where the cans are dropped off.
Oh, yeah.
Because even Cheryl said, when I said this, Cheryl said she had some complaints about people going up there. Really, when it's rainy and muddy, your shoes are gonna get dirty.
Yeah, it's mucky up
It is mucky, it's mucky right in that corner.
there. Yeah.
But it gets a lot of traffic right there, you know, if you go by and see. Well, I mean, the funds prove how many people are there.
Right.
We usually dump those containers, clean them out, clean out the containers into the trailer at least twice a week.
Wow.
It's crazy how much.
Yeah.
We've been averaging like $500 a month.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I know every time I go up there, it's half full
Yeah.
or near full, so yeah.
And we always try to keep it so it doesn't overflow, so there's
Right.
always room.
Yeah, yeah, no, I will commend you guys very much on that. There's never stuff sitting outside, you know,
Right.
or, you know, so you guys do a very good job of keeping it picked up, so.
I'll just note on the funding part of it, in years past, we used to get $1,000 that we would allocate for economic development, and a lot of times it went to Preston Growth and Development.
Mm-hmm.
Those funds used to be 1,000, and now they have increased from WPPI to 2,000. So there might be $1,000, $1,500 that we can contribute as far as WPPI funding, and, yeah, we'd have to look at the rest if there any other.
And Ken said too, there might be some money available from Preston Growth and Development too. You know, we gotta bring it up to the board and ask for approval. We wanted to have all of our facts together too.
Sure, okay,
But this was the first step.
and then you're gonna go out and start getting some hard numbers and stuff for
With the-
things.
With approval, yes,
Yeah.
Cheryl just has to wait. I did ask Eric, and I did talk to Oates, because Ken said, what about blacktopping it? But they really don't think blacktopping's a good choice, because if you go to add to blacktopping, you don't have a clean,
It's hard,
that's what they
Yeah.
say.
yeah. It's
We were
hard.
trying to save money that way to do more, but
Right.
the guys don't recommend that.
Yeah, if you're not gonna do the whole thing in one shot, it's hard to piece it blacktop together. It is. You know. And there's nothing to say too, you know, that, you know, if you do the concrete, you know, say you get the concrete in front done, you know, there's nothing to say that you can't ever blacktop up to that or something,
Oh,
you
sure.
know, too, so, you know, that's always an option too, but, yeah, you know. Okay, yeah, no, I think that's, everybody else chime in, I think that's a great idea to do, you know, do as much as we can up there and, yeah. I don't have an issue with it at all. And then, yeah, we'll kind of look and see, you know, on the city's end, what we can do to throw some money there too, so.
Not trying to be pushy, but I'll get some quotes then with your approval.
Yep.
And see how
Yep.
far we can go, cause we have pretty good numbers now on the trees and everything, now that deadline is closed for
Mhm.
donations.
Yep.
So then we can move forward and then to get in the list, because, you know, we would like to have it cemented by Preston Days.
That was gonna be my next question, if you had any kind of a time frame, what you were
We
trying
would
to.
like to do it as soon as possible, cause I'm not too worried about, the hard facts for the trees, we pretty much know. And we're gonna ask for volunteers, and Marcia had a group that said they would help, so we're going to basically have volunteers, we're gonna have stakes where all the trees will be planted, and then have the holes dug with the post hole digger on a skid loader. So when they bring the trees, we don't have to pay all their labor to plant them too. So
Gotcha.
it's just basically put in new fresh ground, growth promoter, put the tree and close it up and stake it.
Okay.
We gotta stake the trees.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that was gonna be another question I had too, was how you guys were, if there was gonna be any kind of equipment or anything in there needed to get those trees.
Just like when we planted everything in the Serenity area,
Yeah,
a skid loader with the post hole driver
Okay.
works the best.
okay. Gotcha.
You know, when you're digging.
Yeah, I didn't
14
know
holes.
size of trees, what you were thinking of bringing in.
Anymore, they don't recommend big trees like they did years ago. Years ago, everybody recommended as big as tree as you could afford and plant. Now they actually say the bigger trees, you stunt the growth.
Okay,
I mean, we would get tree spades and move trees.
Right,
They don't
right.
even hardly ever do that anymore.
okay.
And they say for study wise, smaller trees catch up to the larger trees.
Interesting,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, no, I think everybody's good with it, Nance, and yeah, if you wanna keep moving forward with it, I think that sounds wonderful. So I
Okay.
think it'd be a great addition up there, so.
Thank you all very much.
Yep. Thank you, Nancy.
You're welcome.
Okay, let's jump down. Number 9, discuss and approve the 2080 agreement for the Fire District Township of Fairfield. We did a couple of these a month ago or something, so these were just trying to get them knocked off. And
Yeah, get them as they come in, and, we're still waiting on Deep Creek, which Don Beck was in the other day and said it should be, hopefully this week we'll get his. So that one's still to come, and I reached out to Carolyn Grant for the other township and haven't had a return, so. Couple to go.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay, is there any discussion needed on the 2080 agreement? If not, I will ask for a motion to approve, the 2080 agreement with the Township of Fairfield.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2080 agreement for the Fire District Township of Fairfield.
Second,
Second.
and roll call please.
Matt Charity,
Yes.
Adam Ryder,
Yes.
Bill Meyer.
Yes.
Number 10, resolution 2024-24, approving deputy clerk to apply for tuition scholarship. What do you got on this, Cheryl?
Tracy can tell you more.
There's
That's
a,
her.
it's available that would help pay for the credits, so I have that week, it's a week in June, there's 32 hours and it's $16 a credit that it'll cover if I get the scholarship. I just need a resolution approving
Gotcha.
that I apply for it.
Okay.
Basically giving your authority that, yes, you can
Yeah.
attend and.
Right. Okay.
That regardless I get the scholarship or not, we'll still pay.
Right.
Hmm.
Right.
It's
a
reimbursable.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yep, yeah, might as well try. Absolutely. Okay, somebody wanna make a motion, for that resolution?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2024-24, approving Deputy Clerk to apply for the tuition scholarship.
Second,
Second.
and roll call please.
Jill Meyer,
Yes.
Adam Ryder,
Yes.
Matt Charity.
Yes.
Okay, 11, discuss and approve purchase of lift station, pump controller in the amount of $2,530. So this was, Tim, I didn't think needed to be here tonight, we kind of talked about this in depth, after the last meeting, during the budget workshop. If everybody kind of remembers that whole, discussion. So this is basically just giving him the approval to go ahead and get that moving forward.
We were gonna put it in next year's budget, but there is funding for this 2,500 to, he wants to get that lift station that's located over by Eric's house. It's running, but not
Yeah, we
correctly.
wanna make sure
It just
it's-
needs to be.
Yeah, we wanna make sure that thing's running like it's supposed to be. So, okay, is there any other discussion needed on that? If not, I will ask for a motion to approve that purchase.
We'll make a motion to approve purchasing the lift station pump controller for $2,530.
Second,
Second.
and roll call please.
Adam Ryder,
Yes.
Matt Charity,
Yes.
Jill Meyer.
Yes.
Number 12, discuss and consider approval setting the public hearing for the 2025-2026 full budget adoption on April 14th, 2025.
Yeah, the full budget adoption doesn't have to be a separate meeting. It can be, set for April 14th, and we can just continue our regular council meeting at that time. The timeline would be that this week, I would get the rest of the final budget numbers where I feel comfortable. Get those out to the paper, set the public hearing with those numbers, and, then it publishes next week. So it's in time to have the public hearing on the 12th.
Okay, sounds good to me.
Otherwise, if you wait till the next meeting to set it, you have to have it to the state by the 30th.
Right.
This will get it to the state by the end of you wait an extra 2 weeks, it's too close to the
Yeah,
deadline
unfortunately.
to,
Yeah,
if anybody ever opposes, not that
Right.
anybody shows up for public hearings usually, but
yeah, you don't have any wiggle
you
room
just
then.
want some wiggle room, right?
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. Okay, can I have a motion to approve, setting that public hearing?
Make a motion to set the public hearing for the 2025-26 full budget adoption on April 14th, 2025.
Second,
Second.
and roll call please.
Matt Charity,
Yes.
Jill Meyer,
Yes.
Adam Ryder.
Yes.
Number 13, review full budget estimates, fiscal year 26 for approval. Did you have anything that was, anything major, Cheryl?
There was nothing major, just put it in your packet just to the sheets I kind of like to look at is the budget summary, and, like the first couple pages we've reviewed several times, which basically the first page is our tax rate, that we had no objections on, so the tax rate will be $12.38. The second page is your mailer, which, went out, and the budget summary is a little further down. If everybody kind of had a chance to look at it, you go through the full budget, you got all the columns, you got the re-estimated, you got the revenues, you got the, re-estimated expenditures and expenditures. These are all the numbers that we've discussed during, and then you get to the summary. It's a kind of summarizes everything that we talked about in all the other pages. If you look at the general fund column, if we bring in every money we're proposing and we spend every penny we're proposing, we'll still have an ending fund balance in our general fund by the end of fiscal year 30 of $136,000. So with that increase in the levies plus the revenues we're bringing in, we're able to stay afloat. Last year, when we presented it, it was proposed to be at a negative, which overall did end up being that way, but those are the columns, and there's not a ton of variation. A couple of things I wanna go over with Kelly is the negative in the TIF and the debt service. We'll have to make sure I have all the transfers in place that's needed to see how that goes. And we'll have to address that at that time. Yeah, so I feel confident by the end of this week we should have it ready to submit. You don't have any major questions, because I didn't do a lot of changing since our last meeting.
No, I mean, I think, and I'll just speak for myself, I think the budget workshops that we've had, I think we kind of really went over everything in depth, and you did a good job with all that, getting that all together and making it easy to, to read and understand, and I think everything is,
No.
from what I can tell, is sitting good, so.
Thank you.
Everything looks good. Anybody else have any questions on any of that? So I think we kind of been over it a lot, so. Yep. So, okay, unless anybody else has any other questions, I'll ask for a motion to.
Do you wanna go
or-
through the updates, or?
Yeah, let's do that, yeah. Yeah, I guess we don't need a motion for that.
No,
Okay.
we'll approve it when at the time of the public.
Okay, yep, perfect. Okay, let's jump down to other business then.
NHS project, I updated, gave you a summary of all the updates that were happening around here. There's 2 students that, for NHS projects, one being Sarah Gruber, put a box out in the city hall collecting donations for the school nurse, and Hadley Farrell, she is going to repaint the lines for the basketball court up at West Side, so. And we have gotten 2 applications for summer help so far.
Okay.
I needed to know, how do we wanna go about hiring? Do we want to have maybe the streets, or do we wanna do interviews?
How have we done it in the past? I don't think we've done interviews in the past.
I don't remember doing
We have more
interviews.
than one?
There's 2 people that apply.
Yeah, we did in the past.
That's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
like in the past, that we had more than one.
Yeah,
Maybe we.
I-
Yeah.
yeah, I'm trying
Do you wanna do that through staff and personnel? Do you wanna-
Yeah, I think that's,
Yeah, I don't
that's,
think we need a full council for that.
Yeah.
I agree.
yeah.
All right, and then they can bring the recommendations
Right.
to the next meeting.
I think that's, yeah, it's been a couple of years, cause well, Connor, he, he was with us
Yeah,
the
we
year
could
before,
post
so.
it, cause we had him.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So, yeah, no, that sounds good. Yeah, you guys can handle that.
That was him.
Great recommendation, yeah.
Department utility, the road closure, we had talked about it at one other one. They sent us a reminder that is going to start April 7th, I think. They're gonna do
Oh.
that bridge approach north of town. I asked them if it would affect the through traffic. No, it would
Okay.
it's just a detour, so
Okay.
it'll be just the bridge.
Okay,
So we can still get the lagoon and stuff.
good.
Utility department updates, Tim just asked me, since we did budget, we're did budget for a new pickup out of water and sewer. Does that give him the go-ahead to go ahead and get one coming, or see if Rotman's will hold one till July, or is that,
It's a long time to pull one.
Yeah.
I know.
I mean, if you can get a list together of things, well, pretty basic truck, and maybe just give them like the heads up, like, hey, come July, have one waiting.
Cause I don't think the one on the lot is exactly what he wanted. so-
Yeah.
And he told me he was gonna call Rotman's and see how far out they are, if
Yeah.
they ordered them, but
Yeah.
he just wanted to kind of,
I think let's
is he
wait.
gonna have to go ahead and get a truck, or,
I mean,
I think,
I was kind of under the assumption
yeah,
Yeah.
that
it was in budget and everything looked good on his
Yeah,
side, so.
I mean, I think everybody was good with it, so, but I think, yeah, I think let's wait until the next fiscal year starts.
But yeah, I think you should at least call and ask if, maybe if they're out,
Right,
until July, we might.
Get an idea.
Shit, that gives them a couple months to find one.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Transfer
Or at least
it
tell them like,
whatever.
hey, just have one here in July, and you already have the sale, just get it here.
Right.
so he has approval to go ahead and get one coming,
Yeah,
as long as it's after July,
right.
okay.
Yeah, as long as it's still in that ballpark range that we talked about, during budget,
Yep.
I think everybody's good with that, so.
Okay. Street maintenance projects, Eric's getting calls from the companies for the seal coating and the crack sealing, and they want to know if they got the go-ahead, so they can get them out, we can get them on, they can get us on their schedule, so we're not waiting till the end of the season before we get any of this done, so I don't know exactly how much of everything you want. He had gotten quotes on what was probably the most needed, especially the crack seal. I think we're all in pretty good agreement that the streets that he picked out, we'll go ahead and get those done. It wasn't decided if we wanted to do all of what was quoted for, seal coating. At least he can get it on the schedule, and maybe you sit down with the street committee and pick out the streets they for sure wanna do.
That's probably the best route, yeah, I would say let the committee kind of
Give me a okay
get
for the
together and,
streets.
go over what the priority list is and then come back to the council with how they wanna go forward with that. That's probably the best way.
Council member vacancy, there's some information in your packet. JT did say that his last meeting will probably be, the 14th of April. So we can, once we get his resignation, we can have it on the agenda next time.
Okay.
Sidewalks update. We sent out, Tracy, you wanna tell them about?
30 letters, I think there's a copy in your packet. And I think we've had 3 people call or stop in and ask about the replacement program.
So this kind of, we talked about it, we talked about during the budget last time, the budget meeting, the sidewalks, I think that's kind of how it got
So
brought
Eric
up.
went around and took pictures.
Yeah.
And then emailed them to me, and we labeled them with each person's property
Yeah.
sidewalk thing.
Yeah.
Then if they came in, we could at least show them the picture, this is what we're talking about.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of the mind, we've had the sidewalk program for a few years now. So we've given people a chance to, kind of do it on their own. I mean, to me, it boils down to at some point, we just gotta start picking them out and, they need to be replaced if they're getting, egregious. And so they can come in and apply for, the sidewalk program and, hopefully the majority go that route. But yeah, there's a number of, if you look through that, there's a number of pictures in there that are, we need to address, some of them and just start, knocking them out, so. So hopefully we get good response on that with the letter and then, I don't know, I brought up, I don't know if we give them 90 days, and see kind of what we have after that. And then send out a second letter or how we wanna, what, I don't know, you guys, what's everybody's thoughts on? forward with it, just 90 days enough, or too much, or too little, or?
What's the repercussion if they don't do anything?
Well, I mean, I think at some point, you know, the city just has to say, you know, whatever it is, you know, you're given this much time, and if it's not, if the problem isn't fixed by such and such, date, I think we just start going ahead and start.
We do it
We
and
do it.
apply it to their
Right.
taxes, right,
Right.
or whatever.
Right. You know,
Do we think 90 days is too long?
What's an average?
So we think in 90 days, like,
So we sent them out March, April, June,
yeah,
if they haven't done anything in June,
I'm just
Send
thinking-
another
Send
reminder,
them
give them a timeframe
then
on it.
timeframe,
Right.
set at least till you get till the beginning of fall, you know.
Right.
So you're looking at,
But the bad part about that is if you do it, then it gets you to the beginning of fall, well, I don't think you're gonna get anyone to come replace your sidewalk then, and then you're out through winter, and then you're gonna start back all over now is the only thing.
right. Right. Average sidewalk's what, 1,500 to $2,000? Just did some quick square footage somewhere around there. Now, if we come in and do that for them, is that filling out the sidewalk thing for them, or they're just gonna pay that full cost? Or are we gonna, as a city, eat the cost
We
of the
still-
concrete?
Yeah.
You know, cause if they fill out the form, then they get the,
Right.
They get the concrete
They
for
get the-
free, they just have to do the.
they just gotta
shop
pay the
work.
labor, so if we
Yeah.
go ahead and we start billing them, are we gonna do that also and just bill them for the labor, or because they didn't take the initiative to go forward, are we gonna bill them for the whole thing?
I think it's however council wants to handle it, honestly.
yeah, I don't know if we can enforce it that quickly, just because, I mean, let's say everybody replied and said, I wanna take, I mean, we don't have the funds in the sidewalk program to do it all this year anyway, for all the ones that were sent a letter, so. But I think definitely keeping in contact for the ones that don't reply would be good.
I just feel like 90 days is too long to wait for the second letter.
I would say, yeah, for the second letter.
Yeah.
I would say, cause I don't think you can, for $2,000, tell somebody, hey, you need to have it done in 30 days, might be a little tricky.
I would agree.
Right.
Yeah.
Even 90 days out, like if I went to go find somebody today, I mean, I don't know, you know, if you'd be able to find somebody.
Maybe not for a sidewalk, but still. it's
Yeah,
not-
yeah, sidewalk, but. I don't know.
Maybe in 30 days, we send another letter, and then figure out, you know, next meeting where we can discuss like what we want the letter to say, because obviously, we'll have a meeting between then and, between now and 30 days from when that letter was sent, you figure out what we wanted to, you know, if we're gonna charge them the full amount, or if we're just gonna go with the sidewalk program deal,
Right.
what we're gonna do that way.
Right. Pick the 10 worst one, well, then you burn up all your sidewalk money for, well, whoever's on the list has to have it done anyway, everybody else in
I would
town.
imagine the ones that are on the list are the worst ones in town,
Right,
so.
yeah, right. So we think in 30 days, send another letter?
Yep. And we'll figure out
Yeah,
next
I think
meeting
so.
what that letter says and.
At the end of 90 days, they already forgot about the first letter?
That's what I'm saying, I feel like 90 days is too long about that, and I say, you know, 30 days we'll send a second letter, and at next meeting, hopefully, you know, all the council is here, and we'll decide what we want to say. Now we have a little bit of time to think about what we want to say, how we're gonna
Right.
enforce it, and
Right.
go from there. And how long after that second letter, how long they have until
Right,
we
and
just go
that's-
in and do it.
Right, like you said, that's where it gets tricky, because then you start running into, you know,
Surely,
whether, you know, and then, yeah, then you're a year out, you know, at some point, it's, here's a hard date, it's gotta be done by this, or it's gonna be done for you, you know what I mean? But where does that, how
And
does
then
that?
either, you know, we don't have, you know, if the council's gonna do it, we don't have to do it this year, we can
Right.
wait till next year, we just say we're gonna do it,
Right.
so.
'Cause I know there was talk too, you know, with, you know, doing the, with the streets, you know, the road use, money, you know, trying to do some fill-in sidewalks and stuff too this year. So, yeah, how that all, you know, plays out, I guess, we can figure that out, but.
Yeah.
I figured this would be a good start, and
Yeah,
we talked about it, yeah, at least kind of get it out there that, hey, the city's, you know, gonna start cracking down on, you know,
some of the bad ones that have not been touched and.
Pun intended, or cracked down.
Yeah. On some of the ones, you know, that have been the worst over, years, so. So, yeah, so let's put it on the agenda for next meeting.
Agreements to send them a letter in 30 days.
I'm good with that.
And hopefully get better callback than, or response than
10%.
three
It's
people.
been a couple, they probably been out, well, we did it the day after the last meeting,
So it's been a couple weeks.
No response.
3 people.
Virtually.
People were just calling, inquiring about it, or they came in to get?
Came in and
to get
actually
info
got an
for it.
application.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing returned yet.
So it sounds like those three people are at least gonna do something.
Yes. One was questioning, cause he's on Merrill Street, if we were ever going to
Tear
redo
out the
that
sidewalk.
road.
Ah.
Mhm.
You don't wanna force them to replace
Replace
something
the
they can tear up.
Right.
That's probably not in the near future. We
Probably
gotta
Guys
get
will
our,
look
we gotta get our
within
funds
the
back
next
up.
couple years, for sure, so.
Yeah.
So he was gonna look at some trees first, maybe getting them removed,
It's the corner one, that's DeGroat and
Merrill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright. Yeah.
where the stormwater was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Active response from somebody that doesn't live.
Okay, nope, we'll get it on the agenda. We'll honestly, we'll probably just kind of leave it on there, I would think, for the next few meetings and keep kind of touching on it.
Yep. So it doesn't get dropped and let go for another 6-8 months, whatever. So,
I skipped over your abatements. You don't have anything to say, Chad? You're usually last anyway.
Yeah,
Those
yes.
went out today,
Okay.
certified mail and
Okay.
mail copy.
Perfect. Yeah, no, that all looked good. I think that was kind of what we were looking for, so hopefully we get some action on that. So,
We will see.
yep. Thank you, sir. Do you have anything else? Okay. Okay, sounds good. Does that hit everything, Cheryl?
I think so.
Okay. All right, does anybody have anything else for other business? Okay, if not, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Dillmeyer.
Yes.
Metra.